WWE had one job on Saturday, December 13th. Reward TKO customers who overpaid for a fake wrestling main event. Give 20,000 fans a moment that allowed them to love and appreciate the legend that is John Cena. WWE failed. John Cena's last match was a big fat flop, and it's not just me saying it. Forget what the IWC on fake Twitter is even saying. The paying customers in a sold-out building booed John Cena's last match. Do you know how bad of a finish you have to book for that to happen? Sadly, John Cena's last match will be remembered as an ugly ending to a Hall of Fame career where fans booed the booker instead of the wrestler. The number one job in any pro wrestling company is to make fans suspend their disbelief. But when the most polite WWE fandom in decades refuses to suspend their disbelief long enough to enjoy John Cena's farewell, then, to borrow a phrase, you f***ed up. And this has nothing to do with whether John Cena won or lost. That's what Thuganomics Thugapologists don't seem to get, but I'm here to help. Subscribe in Swahili. John Cena's last match was a great emotional roller coaster that followed the familiar but effective beats of a John Cena match and a Gunther match. The overdog brute just kept bruising John Cena until it seemed like all hope was lost. Back came Super Cena with a flurry of offense that made you believe. These same beats have led to some instantly classic Gunther matches where heel Gunther went over beloved babyfaces. Gunther's match against YNXT's own Javon Evans comes to mind. But nobody freaked out when Gunther beat Javon. That match, and more importantly the finish, was good enough to allow fans to suspend their disbelief and say, hell of a match, hell of a fight. All of these things did happen in John Cena's final match, by the way, right up until that terrible finish where Cena tapped out and Capitol Arena crashed out. WWE fumbled John Cena's retirement, and all the gaslighting in the world can't convince me otherwise. I don't need to be lectured on IG Live. I heard with my Liberian ears almost 20,000 people booing Triple H. Not Gunther, not even John Cena, but Triple H. Gunther had nothing to do with that reaction. Mans fled the scene like a lone gunman, security escort and all. Talk about suspension of disbelief. John Cena had to break character after fans booed the finish in his last match. Talking about, don't boo my boss, boo me. I came up with this shit finish. Thugapologists say that those wrestling fans just didn't get it. But that's the problem. The most important people in the building, the fans, didn't get it. And that's why John Cena's last match sucked. If you have to jump on the white man's Twitter and explain to frustrated paying customers what John Cena and WWE were going for, you've already lost the plot. I'm one of the single greatest stand-ups in the country right now, new special dropping soon, and John Cena breaking character to bargain with an entire arena after a bad finish would be like me trying to explain my closing joke to a crowd after it bombed. Not that I know anything about bombing. I'm one of the single greatest stand-ups in the country right now, new special dropping soon. I've watched wrestling for a very long time. Like you and every goat who subscribes in Swahili, I'm very familiar with the ins and outs of this business. I understand the story John Cena was trying to tell. I understand the nuances of putting over the next generation, going out on top, and even John Cena smiling to acknowledge that WWE is in good hands. And despite still having some fight left in him, it was finally time for John Cena to quit. His time was up, and Gunther's time was now. Just like it was in July when Gunther beat Goldberg. Just like it was the month before when he won his second world title. Just like that time he held the IC title for 2 years. God damn, Walter, what kind of dirt you got on Paul Levesque, nigga? John Cena and WWE were trying to tell a story about the peaceful transition of power from one legend to an up-and-comer. But the story didn't work. The joke bombed. The real-life people in the building collectively hated it. WWE failed to read the room, which has been a problem throughout the entire John Cena retirement tour. WWE thought fans would accept John Cena as a heel and boo him into oblivion. They didn't. They refused to suspend their disbelief. They didn't boo John Cena like he was an actual heel, so WWE was forced to cut their losses and turn him back face. I had no problem with the idea of John Cena turning heel. In fact, His heel turn was one of the greatest turns in WWE history, but the booking of post-heel Cena kinda sucked. I feel the exact way about John Cena's last match. I happen to love most of the actual match. I had no problem with him losing. I wouldn't have had a problem with him winning. But the finish sucked. WWE didn't read the room, which was mostly children who wouldn't understand the Machiavellian, melodramatic, highly nuanced story that WWE was trying to tell. Those kids just wanted to see their hero in a fake wrestling match. Their parents just wanted to get their money's worth with a satisfying finish. Same goes to the hardcore wrestling fans in the building. Again, John Cena didn't even have to win to send fans home happy. But when Cena lost via happy tap out in the middle of a don't give up chant, it was a bad look that led to an ugly reaction. Whether or not WWE should have upheld some time-honored tradition of going out on your back has nothing to do with my criticism of this finish. For my money, the greatest retirement match of all time was Shawn Michaels versus Ric Flair at WrestleMania 24. Like John Cena, Flair went out on his back. Unlike Cena, WWE didn't fuck around and tell some convoluted story that risked pissing people off in Ric Flair's Flairwell, because Ric Flair's retirement was aped from a children's book, Old Yeller, a simple book that most kids read in school. That simple story of having to put an old dog out of its misery resonated with everybody in the building. Shawn compared Flair to Old Yeller week after week. If you didn't see the build-up or even read the book, WWE told the Old Yeller story throughout the entire match as Shawn hesitated time and again to put down his favorite dog. As easy to follow as this story was, WWE left nothing to chance for the finish. Shawn Michaels didn't flash some abstract facial expression that we had to interpret ourselves. He spelled it out. The camera got a tight shot of Shawn Michaels saying, "I'm sorry, I love you."
Wants to fight. Oh.
And in one of the most famous moments in WWE history, the nature dog Old Yeller was put to pasture until he came out of retirement in 2022 and almost died in the damn ring. That carny bullshit event was actually the worst retirement match of all time. It made Cena's last match look like Jordan's last shot. Point is, in Flair's real retirement match back in 2008, people were bummed that Flair lost, but they weren't pissed at the booker. They relished in the moment. They suspended their disbelief. They were submerged in the storyline. And even though it was sad, it was a beautiful ending. Flair didn't smile his way into a super kick. He gave it all he got. He did the job with tears in his eyes. Fans sympathized with Flair going out on his shield, and it was infinitely more beautiful and melodramatic than John Cena tapping out because he just felt like giving up. That convoluted finish might be cool with some people on social media who watch the show for free, but WWE's job is to read the room in real life. That room was the Capital One Arena. And that room was so pissed, I thought they were finna do a John Cena January 6th. Give it time. By the time this drops, them crackers might be storming the Capitol right now. Sometimes, as one of the best stand-ups in the country, I have to curate my material based on the audience. My first special was taped this year in Provo, Utah, for a Mormon crowd where I had to keep my material squeaky clean. There were guardrails of what I could and couldn't say, but it was a fun crowd, a great show, and the check cleared. They were basically like Honky Arabia. I could have gone up there and done material about sex and racism that kills in late-night comedy clubs. And even though they're great jokes, they would have bombed in front of a Mormon crowd that wants squeaky clean material. John Cena smiling and tapping out to another interchangeable Euro white could have worked with an adult audience that thinks they know more about wrestling than the bookers, like most of Twitter. But in front of a mainstream crowd filled with younger and more casual fans, that shit bombed worse than Baghdad. If your defense of that terrible John Cena finish is that people just didn't get it, you're right. They didn't. At all. That's why they snapped back into reality and rejected the story. At any given WWE event, the crowd is just as much of the part of the show as the wrestlers. And when a match finish leads to fans in the building unsuspending their disbelief and booing the booker, I'm sorry, you gotta add an L to the W, the E, the T, the K, and the O. I don't know how WWE should have booked the finish to John Cena's last match, but after seeing that reaction, I certainly know how they shouldn't have booked it. Who knows, maybe Cena should have said, "I'm sorry, I love you," before passing out so everybody knows he gave it everything he had. But I guess that's why hindsight is what it is. Some feel that Gunther's latest imaginary brass ring will lead to him becoming an undeniable mega heel. He already was! If all those imaginary brass rings didn't make him the star WWE wants him to be now, then it's time to start asking whether Gunther is the guy to get all these imaginary Infinity Stones moving forward. The truth is, not one person in pro wrestling makes a material impact to WWE's bottom line. Most of WWE's revenue comes from the Triple S, streaming, stadiums, and Saudi Arabia, all of which are powered by the WWE brand, not the talent. Unlike the territory days and the Attitude Era, ticket sales for major live events sell out because of the WWE brand, regardless of who's gonna be on the show. When WWE announces a big event, nobody says, "I'll only buy tickets if Gunther's there." Nobody says that for any one wrestler. Roman Reigns is arguably WWE's biggest star, not named Cody Rhodes, but he almost never wrestles. Roman's been on TV so seldomly over the past 2 years, he failed to even qualify for the PWI 500. It didn't matter. WWE does record business with or without Roman Reigns, with or without Brock Lesnar, with or without Gunther, and with or without John Cena, though the retirement tour was an anomaly. All this force-feeding of Gunther being the final boss is giving diminished marginal returns at this point. It won't make Gunther a bigger draw until his retirement tour. For now, it'll just make for a cute line to get heat when Gunther brings it up. That's it. I tapped out John Cena! Whoa. Now run me 2 racks for them TKO tickets, nigga! This was not a business decision. WWE didn't make any money by having Gunther beat John Cena. In fact, they're finna lose money by not having Cena around for that retirement bump. I'd be saying the same thing about John Cena and Gunther had Cena won, by the way. Because again, John Cena's final match was never about whether he won or lost. It was always about how he won or lost. And in a choose-your-own-adventure from hell, WWE picked the wrong page. John Cena's last match bombed. It flopped. It was booed out of the building worse than prime babyface Cena. Triple H became a real-life villain in the eyes of wrestling fans. No matter how WWE plays it off in front of the cameras, this is not the heat they were going for. They wanted people to leave with closure after a beautiful ending to the John Cena story. Instead, they left disappointed after that story bombed. And if you don't understand what it means to bomb in front of a live audience, then watch my new comedy special dropping soon. No, I'm just playing, it went well. Watch this video in the meantime.